And that's not because I would love the old so much and I want to live in the past, but basically because that's what we've always done. So this is what I ended up with. So you can see it's contemporary, very much contemporary, but it does respect some of the or all of the local traditions. So the roof pitch, the materialities, macro carpa, timber, which I got to reading the Australian timber framing standard, and it's actually quite a lovely piece of literature. You know, it does explain to a person. Right. So this is me, Jiri Lev, architect, also looking into the urbanism, particularly new urbanism principles. I have expertise in heritage and visual amenities, so sometimes I get to do a bit of expert witnessing at court, and typically community groups who are sort of challenging inappropriate development and that sort of thing. So it's a bit of an intro, although you've done a great job at that. But to add to that, I suppose, a little bit on my origins and sensibilities to provide some background to my work. So I was born in southern Moravia in Brno, which is second biggest town in Czech Republic. And this is the landscape that sort of surrounded my childhood. Of course, we all will know Prague, but most of the small regional towns look quite as beautiful, and you can see they all share very strong regional character. And unlike in, say, the younger nations or countries, at least, let's say, cultures, younger cultures, you know, other more established cultures will obviously have some very strong unifying spirit, and you can see that in architecture. And within very old countries, let's like Czech Republic, you know, England, whatever, where there's like long built history that we have preserved, we will see that even different regions actually differ quite significantly from one another. So this type of architecture could be seen in Czech Republic in an area, let's say 100 by 100 kilometers. You go to the next region, 50 by 50 kilometers, could be quite different. Could be all timber, or so there's this very strong sense of local identity. And then I moved to Australia, and this is what I've seen. So have ever since. So of course we have some beautiful landscape and lovely people, and that's probably the main reason why I love it here and why I stayed. So as you probably get a sense by now, I'm a bit of a aficionado for traditional architecture or contemporary traditional architecture. And that's not because I would love the old so much and I want to live in the past, but basically because that's what we've always done successfully. We sort of built on the tradition, be it technological tradition, be it like a strong local cultural tradition. And that always works well because it's always sort of evolutionary, isn't it? It's always based on local conditions, be it the climate, be it local resources, materials, their physical properties, be it local culture. So I want to make a distinction between modernist and modern, So modernism obviously is a philosophical probably direction that's been popular for the last 100 years or so. And it explicitly rejects tradition as something that's to be dispensed with, and sort of espouses the view that buildings like art should be of its time and only of its time, and ideally there's always should be some sort of like a clean cut dispose of everything what's been and show what we are about now. And then we have modernity, which is contemporariness. So to say modern traditional architecture is actually not an oxymoron, but it's basically this. It's contemporary traditional architecture. So I'm trying to say that traditional architecture, old architecture was once modern. Now it's perhaps historical, but it was once modern. And all traditional architecture that is now being built is modern, of course, because it's contemporary. So now open source housing, what I'm doing about it. So I design my own the homes for my clients. I don't publicize those, but I do also houses that I've made available for everyone to build, and that's seems like a altruistic gesture, but it's also my secret covert attack on the ugliness. So if I get more people to build things that I believe are beautiful, I'm working kind of covertly in my own interest, aren't I? So so Tasmanian House 1 first Tasmanian House 1 was just a little cabin that I got built by a builder, but it shows some of these principles. So this is where I sort of realized, okay, let's make it open source and so on. So built in Tasmania. Again, eating my medicine. These are the buildings that make Tasmania beautiful. It's got beautiful landscape, beautiful nature, but that can easily be spoiled. But it seems like the early settlers, by clever adaptation of the British architecture, have actually improved the landscape. They didn't make it uglier. Now, this house makes this view a lot nicer than if it was without the house. Some might disagree. Some people would prefer the view without the house completely. No worries about that. But if you have to have a house, I think you would hardly imagine a house that would be better suited to be in this place. This is the Tasmanian village, traditional Tasmanian village. Again, adapted colonial architecture. Another example. And so seeing these, I wouldn't put a Bali villa in here or a glass cube, but I would look into the local building culture, and you can see houses here. Some are 100 years old, some are 200 years old. You can see a couple that are 50, and the gray house on the top right is probably 5 years old. So you can see there's buildings that do respect the local character and contribute to the landscape, the pleasant sort of character and nature of it. So this was a very simple floor plan. On the left-hand side is what I built. On the right-hand side is what I wanted to build eventually. So that's why the house has such an oversized bathroom for a tiny cottage of 26 square meters, because that bathroom was meant to serve a larger building, two-story extension. This is what I ended up with. So you can see it's contemporary, very much contemporary, but it does respect some of the or all of the local traditions. So the roof pitch, the materiality is macrocarpa timber, which anecdotally doesn't need to be treated at all. It's self-preserving. It contains enough resins to preserve it for 10, 20, 30 years, like you would have normal facade, and then it has to be replaced. But it doesn't require oiling. It will silver off naturally. With that in mind, I used the galvanized steel to complement that, eventually silvering wood. So it was beautiful then. It's beautiful now. The facade is now completely gray. So just working in what is locally produced. Of course, the galvanized metal probably came from the mainland. That we don't have our own steel works in Tasmania. But you do what you can, and buy in the rest from as close as you can, I suppose. But mostly this house is built from local timber. Be it the cladding, but also the windows are macrocarpa, locally made. The frame was locally milled radiata pine, plantation pine. So that really fits that Tasmanian village beautifully. So you can see some of the materiality here. Words of warning against window seats. They look beautiful in pictures, but at the least comfortable thing you can imagine to sit in. So every architect loves window seats, and every client wants them because they photograph beautifully, but they're absolute ordeal to sit in, so I don't recommend. But significantly, I got to watch these builders. I lived on a site in a caravan at the time, and I got to watch these builders building the house, and I realized there's not much to it. If you follow, and what they are doing is following traditional, conventional construction. So you can see the roof is framed and everything comes together piece by piece. So I realized you can actually build a building like this in a single person, and you don't need too much experience if you're not doing anything out of ordinary. I got to reading the Australian timber framing standard, and it's actually quite a lovely piece of literature. It does explain to a person. Sounds boring, Australian standard, but it does explain to anybody how they can build their own home, like you would read a tent manual. Ultimately, conventional buildings are not much more difficult to put together than a tent. Obviously, there's some scale to it, scaled up, but yeah. So the intention was that I would build a larger house to the right-hand side extension, and then in these wall panels, I would be using different types of infills to test a variety of traditional or interpreted materials. So I run some tests with like wood chips mixed with lime or cement, as an infill.